Sports tourer is an incredibly popular sector of the market, and you can get big ones like this, ZZR11s, you can get Honda's Blackbird, or you can get the Hayabusa. But then again, in the middle you get things like Honda's VFR 800 and Triumph Sprint ST, both great bikes. Then you get a sports tourer which is more sports than tourers, and that's where Ducati fit in with the ST4. Now I was going to have the ST4S, the one with the 998 engine, but they've gone and sold it, would you believe? So let's see what this one does. But before that, what's the difference? About 80 cc's and a few trick suspension bits, that's all. In fact, the Sport Turismo ST4 is the middle one of a trio, starting with the 900 engined ST2. This one, however, takes the 916 4-valve Desmo motor to give it a bit more oomph. The engine's had a bit of black box tuning, different throttle bodies and a slightly heavier flywheel than the ordinary 916, and that makes it more tractable and smoother. And of course it's character that Ducatis are all about, and it starts with that engine sound. Now the prop stand's interlocked with the ignition, so it won't start with it down at all, even with the clutch in, but if we fire him up, now you hear that engine noise, you also hear a rattle down there, which some people can't stand. Can you hear that clutch? Chutter? Listen, but that's because it's a dry plate clutch. That's all part of the Ducati magic. On the road though is where it counts. At 215 kilos, it's 8 kilos heavier than a Triumph ST, 5 kilos up on a Aprilia's Futura, and just a tad heavier than a VFR. But with 107 brake horsepower and a lithe chassis, you wouldn't know it. The ride is firm but forgiving, and combined with fluid handling, this bike gives you the feeling that it would do well on the track. A sort of foggy inner suit. Talking of suits, I wasn't expecting it, but this has come with 3 suitcases. Alright, they're not suitcases, they're side cases and a top box, but there's a hell of a lot of room in there. There's room for a suit and a couple of dresses if that takes your fancy. But I'll tell you something else they've got. These are actually quickly detachable. And just like that, as Tommy Cooper said. And look at it, doesn't it look fantastic? A completely different bike. Well, all right, perhaps not fantastic, but it does look completely different, doesn't it? It's lost a lot of that sort of weight, or the look of weight, so it's a trim sports bike now. Anyway, when we're talking about your looks, I first tested one of these, the ST2, back in 1997, and the looks haven't really changed since then, but I don't think they've dated. It still looks very classy to me. Nice smooth fairing there, nice rounded headlamp, comes back to a nicely sculpted tank. Down there, of course, is that big 8-valve Desmo lump with its World Superbike heritage, which also goes for the frame as well, because that frame is derived from the old 888 World Superbike racer. Up front, you can see from the fork tops here, forks are fully adjustable. You've got your preload, your rebound, and your compression damping down below. Also down there, you can see we've got Brembo calipers and 320mm discs, so you've got all the sort of trick bits there. Up here, very neat little cockpit here. Got a digital display bringing it bang up to date, and then you've got your speedo, your rev counter and the old idiot lights. Looking at the bars there, nothing really special. You'll recognise the Ducati switchgear as normal. There is a little choke lever on this side. Looking at the screen blade here, me being taller, I could do with a slightly taller one, and luckily Ducati actually make one. £55 it'll cost you, just screws in there, replaces that one. The mirrors as well, they're pretty good on this one. At least you can actually see what's behind you. They vibrate a little bit, but the view's clear enough. And with a clear view ahead and that big comfy seat, it all makes for a really comfortable ride. Slightly pitched forward, the riding position is all the better for nudging 150 on your leisurely tour. In the twisty bits, the 6-speed gearbox is a perler. Crisp and light, it makes playing a pleasure. So what else has it got to make it a practical tourer? Well, if I just lift the seat a minute, one good thing that it's got in there, if you can see it, see that shape there, that's for a U-lock. U-lock goes in there, and I mean, you need that these days with bike theft being as it is. Pity someone's pinched the one out of here, isn't it? Under there goes a little tool roll, so that's all pretty neat in there. But something else it's got, and you've seen the bike standing on its stand, is a centre stand. And over this side, just to make it easier to lift it up on the stand, you've got a neat little fold-out lever to save you grabbing hold of that pillion rest. So how much for Ducati's classy tourer? It's going to cost you $8,250 on the road, complete with a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. As far as the panniers go, or the side cases if you want to call them that, they're going to cost you £415 for the pair, and the top box will cost you £235.